The LSAT has changed, and with it, your LSAT prep needs to change also. Today, I'm going to share with you what I would personally do if I wanted to score 175 on the LSAT in October or beyond. For those who don't know me, my name is Steve Schwartz. I've been teaching the LSAT since 2005, and I personally increased my LSAT score from a 152 to a 175 on LSAT test day. Now, of course, the LSAT has changed. Back when I took it, logic games were on the test. The good news for you, however, is that there's no more logic games section. LSAT has replaced the logic games with a second scored logical reasoning section. This is great news for you because you can narrow your focus, double up your attention to logical reasoning, and any gains you make in your understanding of logical reasoning will be doubled across the two sections. And so my number one hack for anyone taking the LSAT going forward is double the amount of time that you are devoting to logical reasoning, because any gains you make there are doubled across the two sections. It may sound obvious in hindsight, but I find too many students just work systematically through all the different LSAT question types, not recognizing that some question types are more common than others. So just as the LSAT is now 2/3 logical reasoning, 1/3 reading comprehension, there are proportions as well to consider when looking at how you allocate your time between all the 15 different types of logical reasoning questions. Not all of those types show up in equal proportion. Some are more common than others. The three biggest or most common types of logical reasoning questions are necessary assumption, inference, and flaw. So you want to make sure that you maximize your time there, that you understand those inside out before devoting your time to the rare question types that hardly ever come up, like evaluate the argument or cannot be true or must be false. Those are significantly less frequent, and so you're going to get less bang for your buck. There is lower hanging fruit to devote your time to if you haven't yet mastered those three most common types. Again, necessary assumption, inference, and flaw. You also want to be strategic in terms of how you allocate your time over the course of the logical reasoning section, because the questions are not all of equal difficulty. Some are easier than others. The first 10 questions in a logical reasoning section are easier than those that come later. And so if you are aiming to score 160 or above, which I certainly hope you are, I would recommend that you aim to complete the first 10 questions in roughly 10 to 12 minutes, allowing you to build up a time bank that you can then apply to the more difficult questions later in the section. In other words, don't get bogged down double checking or triple checking easy questions that you've already likely gotten right. Save that time for the more difficult ones later in the section that truly need it. Typically, the hardest questions in logical reasoning will be questions 15 through 23 within a single section. So make sure that you don't get bogged down or stuck there either. But you do want to, of course, have more time for those questions. Now, I would recommend flagging the 3 to 4 hardest within that range that you will likely have the most trouble with, and you want to know which types do you like the least. Me personally, I don't like to risk getting bogged down on parallel reasoning questions or any questions that are overtly abstract or technical in nature, like hard science, natural science questions, philosophy-related questions on morality or aestheticism. I want to flag those, skip them, and come back to them later only after I've already completed the section. And I want to have my pacing down to the point that I'm finishing the section with at least 3 to 5 minutes or so to spare, so I can then come back and tackle the tough questions I flagged on my first go around. And then with the second look, the fresh perspective, I'm able to break out of my previous tunnel vision and turn those questions from guesses into right or from wrong into right with that second look and with that additional time. You also want to develop the mindfulness and comfort level to recognize that the LSAT is, of course, a multiple choice exam, and so process of elimination is your friend. LSAC is great at making the right answer choice seem unappealing, and so oftentimes you are choosing the best of the worst. A bad answer can still actually be a correct answer, even if you don't love the wording. And so what you want to do is get proficient at eliminating wrong answers, and then the right remaining choice, even if you don't understand what it's saying, because you've eliminated the 4 wrong answers, you have no choice but to choose that one. Now, if you'd like my help on your journey to scoring a 170 or above on your official LSAT, you can check out the links below to find out more and to book a call with me and my team. We'd be glad to help. And in the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.